Okay, so today we're just going to talk about some reflection type questions. What's the biggest decision you've ever been faced with making in your life?
The biggest decision. Well, I think that was deciding to move out of the house in Lafayette. That was the hardest and probably the biggest.
Yeah, I remember one time when I was a child and you were behind our fence on that kind of hill that went down and you were crying. I think it was the first time I'd ever seen you crying. But you didn't tell me what it was about, and I think it was right before the divorce. And that was kind of something that stuck with me my whole life. So,
Yeah, I was a pretty unhappy guy.
yeah. That was a nice house. I think they've leveled it now. And put in some condos.
I don't think so.
No, I went there.
Really?
Yeah, they have condos there now.
You're kidding. That really surprises me.
Yeah, it was a nice house. So how did that turn out for you, that decision?
Well, at the time I was seeing a therapist. Actually, your mother and I were both seeing a therapist together, and then she got pissed off at the therapist, and so I just continued seeing the therapist. And I think with the therapist's help, I came to the conclusion that I wasn't much good to anybody as long as I stayed in that situation. I'm not a person that regrets my decisions very much. I mean, I was sad to leave you guys. That was really painful. It's still painful sometimes when I think about it. And but I didn't feel like I had a choice then, and looking back on it, I don't think I had a choice. No, I mean, I just wouldn't have changed it because I don't think it would have been good for you guys if I'd stayed.
No, I think it turned out to be the right decision for everyone in the long run. If you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
Very serious. I think I have a striking resemblance to Cary Grant. And the father and grandfather. And manservant to a goddess.
Definitely not able to control your birds, though, I can tell.
Yeah, we have crappy birds around here. They're called crows. They wake me up every morning. They're smart suckers. You know, they scare off eagles. They work in teams, and then although eagles are, raptors, and they're much bigger and tougher, but they don't work in teams.
If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
I can think of 3.
Okay.
Taller, smarter, and better looking. And more silly.
I thought you were going to say more hair.
Well, okay. That did it.
You said you have no regrets. So how do you get to that point in your life where you have no regrets?
It's not that I don't have regrets. I mean, I've made decisions that didn't turn out well, but I'm not a person that dwells on them. I figure, well, it's not like I went out of my way to make the wrong decision, and I don't think I've ever gone out of my way to hurt anybody, and so to the extent that I've made wrong decisions or the decisions that turned out badly, there's not much I can do about them. Or if there were things that I could have done to make it less difficult, why, I probably did them. So.
What do you think the funniest thing that has ever happened to you?
Funniest thing? Huh. that is tough because I think I don't embarrass easily. That one I'm going to have to think about. I can't think of the funniest thing. It seems like a lot of little funny things happen. Nothing stands out as being enormously funny.
What about the funniest thing you've done to someone else?
Boy, I can't think of that either. I don't know why. Those are hard. Maybe it's because it's in the morning. And it's a bright sunny day here in Seattle.
The fog has gotten to your brain, probably.
Yeah, it's got in one ear and out the other, I guess.
Speaking of in one ear and out the other, what's the most unexpected thing about getting old?
Well, I really didn't expect to have my parts rot out in kind of the time frame that they have. Since we moved to Seattle, I think I've lost 3 or 4 organs. I'm down to pretty basic organs now. I can't really afford to lose too many. I think I can afford to lose my appendix without, missing a heartbeat, but the rest of them. I think I don't think physically changing from 40s to 50s made much difference. In fact, even 50s to early 60s, but since it's 65, a lot more aches and pains in the morning, and I can really tell that I don't have the physical strength or endurance that I had before. But it doesn't bother me that much.
What about,
if you don't work, boy, that makes a big difference.
What about how you look at the world and things like that?
Well, I think I'm very fortunate. Of course, I've made some really important decisions in my life that turned out really well. Like I decided to have my parents be who they were. That helped. And of course, their parents made a decision to come to the United States and all that. But my life's good, I kind of surprised that I was able to retire when I did, and I enjoy not working. Actually, there's more to it than that. I enjoy my life now, regardless of working or not. Of course, I'm not working, so it's easy to say that. But it's just a good life. I mean, we're living in this huge house, too big for us. We have enough money to get by on, do most of the things we want to do. No alarm clock in the morning. It can't be better than that. So if you've got a few aches and pains and you can't do as much as you could before, big deal. And of course, I'm living with a goddess, which, I'm serious about that. She's just makes my life really nice. And she does most of the cooking too, which helps.
Well, you're both good cooks, so, and you both enjoy cooking.
She enjoys cooking. I can cook. I don't enjoy it. I can do it.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
What accomplishments are you most proud of?
Well, I don't know that I consider having 6 children as good people an accomplishment. It may have happened despite me, but it's something that I think about a lot. I feel very good about all 6 of you, and of course the grand snots. I think it's prideful rather than an accomplishment. I mean, after all, it didn't take a lot of a lot of brain power or effort really to get to this place. But I think that's the most important part of my life.
If you had some words of wisdom for your grandchildren, what would they be?
Well, I've already imparted those things. Anything worth having is worth stealing. It's not how you play the game, it's winning. The code of silence is good, particularly in dealing with your parents. I think I've imparted that. I think they all turned out to be, despite my advice, have turned out to be good people, as near as I can tell so far.
What is the one thing you most want people to remember about you? I think it was that I was a Torah carrier. That was kind of the highlight of my career in life, I think. I don't know. I think I've tried not to hurt people. I think I've wanted to, particularly with respect to family and friends, I've tried to be there for them. So, see, this is not an astounding life. It's not going to be remembered, as we say, toast then compost. And I think that's true of most everybody. Think about it, most of the famous people are notorious. That's true. If you were to have a gravestone when you die, what do you think it should say?
I think we ought to take a break because, oddly enough, through the years, I've compiled some of those.
Oh, I think we should get those.
Okay, so should we take a break?
I think we should.
Time out.
We are back on. I just need to get my headphones on.
I don't know what this means, but in this little book where Lynn and I were just horsing around, about headstones, because we used to go to cemeteries in the gold country and do some rubbings on the stones, and that was kind of fun. But I don't know what this means. The very first entry here is in her handwriting, and it says, "Gone and soon forgotten."
Nice.
Hey, I'll have to ask her about that. Next one, he revered form over substance. He aged gracelessly. Too much is never enough. He was not a hard act to follow. He lived his life as he wished, pursuant to her directions. Electronic cretin. Student disrespectful thought. Voluptuary. And Torah lifter at the end.
Nice. I thought there'd be something like buried with beer, buried with beer.
Hey, beer is important.
Wine is where it's at.
I think it was Benjamin Franklin that said something to the effect that God made beer to prove that he loved us. Something close to that.
Well, it's good to know that God did something.
And I'm just trying to show that I read a book once.
Okay.
Over and out.
this video.
take with the video when you're done?
Really nothing. I mean,
Yeah. Can I have a copy?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll
okay.
edit it. I was thinking of charging everybody in the family $25 so I can make my money back.
Oh, good luck.
I have to pay royalties to Dad's manager, who happens to be Lynn.
Uh-huh.
So,
Maybe if you put it on YouTube,
I know.
and then
we
you
thought
can
about that.
make tons of money off of it
We
somehow.
actually thought about getting embarrassing things from people and then threatening them to put it on YouTube to make our money back.
Yeah,
So
you
that's
could
a
open yourself
possibility.
up to lawsuits.
So here
but-
we were having a documentary about Dad. We just kind of talked about his life a little bit and his thoughts on things. What comes to mind when you think about Dad?
I don't know. I mean, I think what's kind of interesting is I think back on my own life, and sometimes I will catch myself or recognize something of him in me, whether it's something I'm saying or the way I'm acting or behaving. Maybe I'm doing something like that right now. I don't know. So that's, even though we're separated by a great distance, and this is the first time in 2 years I've seen him, there are times when I feel like part of him is inside me all the time, just because I don't know if it's partly a genetic thing, it's part nature, part nurture sort of thing, and there are certain analytical aspects of his personality, I think, that I have, and then there are some part of his sense of humor I think I've inherited as well, which may be a good thing for me and might be not such a good thing for the people around me.
I feel the same way at work.
Yeah.
I don't think
So-
they quite get me.
I guess that's partly what I think of nowadays is I guess we all fear we become our parents, and to a certain degree I think I have.
Do you catch
but-
yourself like sometimes having a difficult thing that you need to make a decision on and thinking like, what would Dad do? Because I end up doing that a lot, because sometimes I have a difficult situation, I'm thinking, okay, what's the right thing to do here? What would Dad do?
Sometimes, like if it's a parental sort of thing, I mean, I can't think of an exact example, but there have been some things, like, well, how would this have been handled, when I was a child, let's say.
And then you decide to do it differently than that, right?
Exactly, I do the exact opposite, and so that's worked out great. Thanks, Dad. And
So you don't go camping in the rain. Is that what?
well, actually, I wouldn't say I don't go camping in the rain, but I just think that there are, especially when it comes to deciding, what's a big deal and what isn't a big deal for, for Henry, what really matters and what doesn't, and those kinds of things. I think about, well, what really mattered to Dad and to Mom, for that matter, when we were growing up. What were the things that really mattered, and what things just didn't really matter that much, and that I shouldn't really make that big of a deal out of. So.
Well, you seem a lot like Dad in the sense that you're very calm about things and you're not a real freak out and things like that. So I think that that's a good thing. I'm not sure the rest of us got as much.
Yeah, so I think that that's probably a part of him that I have inherited. I'm not consciously, but I try not to overreact to things, and it carries over into to work things. So a lot of times there'll be some crisis at work, and I'm sort of known as a person who doesn't get bent out of shape. It's not that I'm not feeling it on the inside or wondering, but I don't want to jump to conclusions or do something rash, and then only to realize that if I had just relaxed a little bit and realized it wasn't the end of the world, and what can I do to solve that problem or deal with it, that I'd probably end up with a better outcome anyway. And I also try to do that with relationships and things like that too, and when things don't go according to plan, which in life rarely do they. So, kind of go with the flow, don't worry about it too much. Not that there aren't some serious real problems or things that have to be taken care of or dealt with immediately sometimes, but
Freaking out doesn't help anything.
it's not really going to. So
And you've
that's
been
probably
very
something
successful in your relationship with Pam, your wife, as Dad has with Lynn. Do you think that he in some way influenced you as far as stability or relationships, or were you just lucky?
I have no idea. No idea. I mean, I feel very lucky to have found someone who I'm very compatible with on many levels. So I think that really, probably more than any one thing, is key. It's just pure chance. That we happen to be sort of in the same place physically and in our lives at the same time, and it worked out.
So there's no hope for the rest of us, is there?
And no. I'm just saying that there's a certain amount of pure chance there, combined with other things. So it always takes a certain amount of luck plus whatever you bring to the table, which you inherit from your parents and get from your personal experiences and so on. So yes, I would say, without a doubt, Dad had some influence there, but that's part of a bigger picture. Yeah.
So are you going to be able to get Pam to be in this video?
I doubt it. I don't think so. Okay, so there is a perfect example. If somebody doesn't want to, then I don't really think it's necessary. Or she might change her mind. It's totally up to her.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not the kind of person who would try to, get someone to do something that didn't feel right or didn't want to do for whatever regardless of whatever the reason was, unless it was some vital important thing that just had to be done for the sake of my family or humanity, or there was some moral imperative or something like that. But she might rest up and change her mind, or she might not, and that's totally cool.
There is a similarity between you and Dad that I've noticed. You both had reptiles as pets. And
I wouldn't
neither one of
read
you had
anything into that.
with fur.
I wouldn't read a whole lot into. Well, I don't know.
You have a turtle.
We have a turtle, so
Crunch, right?
Crunch, and I think that I can't say that I really would want a dog or a cat as a pet, but mostly because, not that I don't like dogs or cats, but it's just the hassle of dealing with it.
That's exactly how Dad feels about it.
So, and it's...
Which is so strange, because the girls in the family are all fanatical animal people, which Mom was as well.
But it's not that I don't, wouldn't appreciate having such a pet. So we haven't denied Henry the opportunity to own one, but he seems
You've been
satisfied
able to stave it off for as long as possible.
with a turtle. Low maintenance. He's a pet. We get a small amount of enjoyment out of him. And there's a sense of responsibility that Henry has to him, so we've built that into his upbringing. But there isn't the same kind of connection that you would have with a mammal. I suppose people make connections with guinea pigs and rabbits and so on too.